Okay, so this is a few weeks later. I decided to finally get to this. I at least want to get the concrete pillar forms done before snow and everything. I just want to get them to that point, and then next spring or whatever I'll start the rest of it. So I was anxious before the weather starts getting really cold. And again, I got some missionaries from my church to help, Elder McCauley and Elder Bodley. And we're just clearing these out, and then we'll vacuum them out because there's so many leaves, and sometimes frogs get in there, so we have to clear those out, and then we'll see how this goes. I've been feeling kind of anxious about this because I've never done this before, and this is going to be one of the most important parts of this thing. So we'll see how it goes. So I had a couple challenges to consider here. I had some mud get in there along with the leaves. So I was worried about the concrete having a layer of mud there and a cushion that would have some problems later. So I decided that if I spray it down and then kind of get a goopy mud mix there, it'll be just the same as the concrete mix anyways, and it'll just kind of mix in and be solid on the footing there. So that's one solution. And then basically I just get this measured. I measure all four corners to make sure the measurement's all the same, to make sure it's square in all four pillars. And then what I did was I want to get this as close to the ground as possible, but not below this surface here, so the rain and dirt and stuff kind of flows around it. So I just kind of did this and marked it where I wanted it, and then I'll just cut it down to there, and then measure it up again, make sure it's square, and then reinforce this so it doesn't tip, and then make sure it's level and all that, and then we'll fill it up. That's pretty much it so far. Alright, we're getting ready for go time on this first one. I made my little mud. Now it's going to include the mud within the mix. I'm just going to get this little bit of concrete mix down there, get it soaking up that. We've got this first one filled in, and what I'm doing, I'm just vibrating it just so all the bubbles come popping up, and this water came popping up as well. So you can see all the bubbles coming. Sometimes I take a reciprocating saw or something and put it on the side of it, and it vibrates it like that. And we'll probably sprinkle some dry concrete right on there to soak it up and just top it off right there. And and then fill in the sides with dirt. So I decided that it would be best to just let that cure, so that I can, when I get to the point, I can actually set a board on there for a reference point, or set a laser leveler on it. And I'm going to borrow that from Steve that helped me before, and so that'll make it a ton easier to figure out what's the next level on the other ones all the way across, and it'll be accurate and it'll be quick. I didn't show this, but I actually sunk some rebar in there, like 3 different rods, a few feet long. I just stuck them in there like a triangle, just to have somewhat reinforcement. It's probably not necessary, but I just did it anyway because I have rebar ready, so I might as well just do it. So now that this one is cured a little bit, I was going to level everything else based off of this. Basically what I did was take this long straight board, I made sure it was straight, and then pretty much leveled it there, put a leveler on there, and just built it up with boards on the other side until I could mark the next form there. Did the same thing with the other one. There also is another method of leveling, is the clear tube water leveler, and you can look this up, and this is brilliant because this only costs, you know, I don't know, like $5 for 23 feet of it, and you put water in it until the water is on each end. Take one end of this on one side, figure out the level, and then the other end will be the exact same level. It doesn't matter what the tube is doing in between, really. It's just the water's always going to stay level, so you know exactly where that first level is, and you can match it up. It's pretty brilliant, cheap way of doing it, very accurate. Just look up videos on that and you'll see some detailed videos on how to do that exactly. Okay, here we are on this shed foundation. I've had 5 of the 6 pillars done, and the last pillar I had an experiment I wanted to do, and just like my cement batteries that I made, and I've always wanted to do this when I was pouring concrete. So I'm just gonna, I've got this wire off of a big cord, and I just, you know, it was free anyway, so I didn't really care. So basically it's just like my cement battery, just bigger version of it. And I'm just gonna put this inside there, and we'll see if we'll get a reading off of it when it's wet and then when it's dry. So I don't know what this is gonna do, but in theory this is my test. I am confident that I'll at least get some reading off of it. It'll be stronger when it's wet. When it's dry, it may go down. The benefit is when these pillars are in the ground, they're constantly getting moist in water, and the moisture in water makes the higher voltage potential. So that's why I wanted to do this. So we'll see what happens when I get it together. Rebar doesn't really have anything to do with it. It's just reinforcing the pillar, and I'm just getting wire in there right now. Oh, that's more than I thought, actually. That's a little 0.71 volts, so like more than half a volt comes out of that. I don't know, worth the experiment.